Parent Entrepreneur Power, conversation number 212.
Parent Entrepreneur Power.
Wait, what? It's Power!
This is the podcast for parents juggling the tough choices required for success in business while putting family first. Hi, I'm Mary Kathryn Johnson, and I share the ups and downs and dirty truths of profits and potty training while chatting with successful parent entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Are you powered up? Hey there, Power Parents. Mary Kathryn Johnson here. Welcome to Parent Entrepreneur Power. You know where you are. I know where we are. Let's get this show on the road. All right. So we are number 3 into this series, basically, of the 10 rules of business, the 10 steps in business that power parents need to take. We've already gone through number 1 and number 2. If you're interested in that, go back to episode 210 and 211, and let's kind of jump into 212. And this is something that I'm sure those of you, those power parents out there who've followed this podcast on a regular basis, you've heard me talk about this a lot. And basically what I'm talking about is mastering your productivity, hacking those bad time habits is what I'm going to talk about next. So I'll reintroduce you if you've kind of forgotten some of the main points of productivity and using your time wisely, but this is going to be different. Okay. So those of you power parents who've heard this before, yes, you have, but bear with me. It's only going to be a few minutes. I'll recap what we've talked about in the past, and I'm going to introduce another step, something that can get you back on track when you kind of get out of your normal time behaviors, your productivity behaviors. All right. So just hang on. Believe me, I will make this worth your while if you've heard some of this before, because I'm going to introduce something I heard from the man himself, Mr. Tony Robbins. All right. So let me just dive in here. Okay, so power parents, we know about using our time wisely, right? I've talked about the power morning routine, right? The P, the O, the W, the E, and the R, okay? So the P is for peace. All right. You have some kind of peace in the morning, whether it's meditation, prayer, quiet time, whatever you need to do. The O is for openness. Okay. So what I need you to do every morning, or at least every day if you can't do it in the morning, is to be open, to sit and visualize what it is you have to do that day that you've either never done before or hasn't quite worked before, so that you visualize it a different way. Because the more we visualize what we think might happen, the more we train our brains to actually make the right things happen. Okay, the more we focus on the negative stuff and the way things didn't work, the more we repeat that. The more we look at it differently and try and create a different path, the easier it will be to create that path. Okay, so the O is for openness, and that's basically visualization. W is 3-pronged, the who, what, and why. So who needs my love, my attention, my focus, my patience, my forgiveness today, and many times that's my family, my clients, and many times it's me, myself. Let me tell you, sometimes I need to give myself the most patience and forgiveness. I'm sure a lot of you are the same way. All right. The other W, what? What are the top 3 things I must do today in order to feel successful? And I write those down. What are the 3 accomplishment actions? We're not talking about things I want to theorize about and think about and plan for. No, I'm talking actions. What 3 actions do I need to implement today in order to move myself and my business forward? All right. So that's the second W. And then the third one is why. Why in the heck am I doing this? Why am I getting up every day when I get to wake up to glorious days, whether there's sunshine or rain or snow or sleet, thunder, doesn't matter. I got to wake up. So that's an incredible day. And why am I choosing to spend that time doing what I'm doing? Okay, so why is it? And my why has changed drastically over the years. People, you know, power parents, when you're in the middle of raising your kids and your family, paying off your mortgage, paying your cars, doing whatever you're doing, your why really becomes your family. And that's the reason you do what you do. Most husbands know that, sometimes even more than wives, and many more women know that today than ever before. We know we need to caretake. We need to take care of those in our charge, and we want to provide for them the best we can. So many of us, that's our why. As my boys, as I enter into more of the exit strategy, because that's where I am, my why is changing. Why am I doing this? And I'm looking more for my own future, my own, I can't say retirement. I can't imagine retiring, but you know what I mean. Not having to worry so much, not having to wonder paycheck to paycheck where money's coming from, where it's going to go, and being able to have a little more fun. And I'm lucky in the sense that when I was younger, before we had kids, Dwayne and I were able to have a lot of fun before we had kids and travel and do things. And we were on a limited budget. So to be honest with you, it was a lot of fun because we tried all kinds of new things, staying in tent cabins in Yosemite. And now, of course, we stay in the Ahwahnee, which is no longer called the Ahwahnee. We won't talk about that. But anyway, so lots of those different kinds of reasons we all do things. All right. And it can change and it's okay. But when those whys change, you need to really figure out what your why is as early as possible so that you don't lose sight and you don't lose the momentum you've been building. Okay, so we got P.O.W.E. E is for exercise, of course, every day, move. I don't care what you do, you got to move. And R is for reading. And really reading, I'm talking about learning and growing every single day. Okay, so those are the basic foundations that I use in productivity. And then I take my quote to-do list and I put it on my calendar, because if it's just in a to-do list, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't have a time constraint to it. And so I need to put the things that I need to do on my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it ain't going to happen. That's just reality. It is not going to happen if I don't have it on my calendar. So take your power morning and then translate the actions for the day onto your calendar, and you've got productivity. Now, what do we do when we don't follow that? When we kind of fall out of that? Because I've done that many, many times. Please don't misunderstand me and think that every single day I have a power morning and everything is perfect and wonderful and rosy and my day is totally productive. Doesn't happen. Okay, it just doesn't happen that way. Life gets in the way. Changes happen. I get out of a meditation routine and then I wonder why I'm kind of scattered, which, I'm wondering quite often. But anyway, whether I meditate or not. But, those things really do matter when you have a routine and you have a habit and then you get out of that habit. If you've ever exercised on a regular basis and then all of a sudden you don't, you know what I'm talking about, right? How do you get yourself back into it? And one of the things, here is where good old Mr. Tony Robbins comes in. I was lucky enough, absolutely fortunate enough, to see him speak and to participate in one of his speaking engagements when I went to Funnel Hacking Live in Florida at Disney World, no less. And I still can't believe that I didn't go to Harry Potter theme park. But anyway, I'll get over that eventually, I'm sure. But anyway, so I got the chance to see Tony Robbins. And one of the things he talks about is focus really has 3 different patterns that are involved with it. And I want you to think about what patterns you fall into in your habits. And so do you focus on what you're missing or what you have? Okay, so let's bring that to productivity. So if I'm looking at productivity and I start my day out going, oh, this is going to be great, and I've got all my stuff going, but then something comes in and derails my day, right? Am I focusing on, oh, darn, I'm never going to get back into it. Oh, that's terrible. Look at all the stuff I didn't do. I couldn't do it today, and beat myself up for the things I'm missing? Or do I focus on the things I have? So in other words, did I focus on the things I was able to get accomplished and focus on the things that I personally have control over? And not focus on what I don't have control over or what someone else supposedly is putting on me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? So instead of focusing on what you missed, focus on what you accomplished. Okay, so that's a pattern. If you automatically slip into the pattern of focusing on what you missed and beating yourself up for it, you're not going to be as successful as if you focus on what you have and what you have control over and what you've done. All right? That leads into the next focus, which is, do you focus on what you can or cannot control? Please, power parents, just with our kids, it's the same with society. We can focus on what we can focus on. And someone else out there doing something else that has nothing to do with us and over which we have no control. If we focus on that which we have no control, we will be very unhappy and we will be very unproductive. So I'm telling you, keep your influence where it needs to be, and that is on what you have control over. So in your productive day, do you have control over your schedule? Most of the time, yes. Okay. If you can say, I'm going to put this on my calendar, I'm going to do it, then fantastic. If you blame others because you can't have control over whatever it is you're wanting to do, like, the person came to the door and tried to sell you pest, control services, and you couldn't get rid of them, and that's what made you not able to finish your day or whatever. That's, that's not focusing on what you can control. First off, you can control whether or not you answer your door. That's number one, especially when you're working. I really look at my life at home. Even though I'm at home, I look at my life and say, you know what? I'm as if I'm in the office. So I'm not going to answer my door, for any stranger that walks up to it and wants to talk to me, because then I'm giving that control over to them. And I can't afford that. I control my day. And just because someone comes to the door or the phone rings does not mean that I can answer it or need to answer it. I need to focus on my day and what I can control. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does. And the last thing that is so powerful, power parents, do you focus on the past, the present, or the future? And obviously, most of us as entrepreneurs would say we focus on the future. Yes, we are futuristic, right? But I got to tell you, the best thing you can do is focus on the present. Keep your eye on the future, definitely. Focus on trying to reach goals. I love it. But really, on a day-to-day, focus on the present. Be present in what you're doing, who you're with, what you're working on. Be present. The more you can be present and appreciate and move forward with what you're working on, what's right in front of you, the happier you will be. Okay? So what pattern do you fall into, and how can you change that? Is your pattern focusing on what you miss rather than what you have? Focusing on what you can or cannot control, or focusing on the past, present, or future? And really, how can you get yourself to focus on what you have done, not what you miss, what you can control, not what you can't, and the present and what's right in front of you rather than the past and letting the past control you, or the future and letting it control you? Those three things, if you try and get yourself out of those patterns, the negative patterns, if you're already in the positive ones, I'm not talking to you, right? You already got this covered. But the rest of us, when we get out of our routine, that's why, is because we've fallen back into those patterns. So thank you, Mr. Tony Robbins, for reminding me of that. And I sincerely hope this has helped you get more in focus so that you can be not only more productive, but have more profit as a result. All right, Power Parents, you know what I always say, enjoy the journey. To get powered up for your day, just go to parentepower.com and listen to the over 200 episodes we have so far with amazing entrepreneurs just like you. It might just help you feel like a grown-up again.